Welcome to the last video of this week, and today we're going to be talking about finding files on your computer. So in our previous lessons we talked about how to keep your files organized, but there's going to be times when no matter how organized you try to be, you're still going to be wondering, where the heck did that file go, right? You're going to be going crazy looking for this file, and there are some common places where they could be, and we're going to talk about that. And if you can't find it, there is a tool in Windows to search your entire computer for that. However, it doesn't seem to work in class. The reason why I'm thinking that is because I was thinking about this, and sometimes if you're on like a work computer, or if you are on a something that's controlled by an institution, a lot of times they might block that, because what happens is there could be sections of the computer that they don't want you to access, and when you do a global search on a computer, it searches everything, so it's touching those things. So that's what I'm thinking is why you can't do it. But I'll kind of show you how it should work and how it will work when you're at home. So when we're trying to find some files, first thing we want to do is look at the most common places where those files might be. And the most common one, we've talked about it a couple times, is going to be our downloads folder. So right here, this is the downloads folder. So the downloads folder is where almost everything is going to download by default. Okay, so I downloaded this application here a while back. It says last week, but it was a lot longer than last week. Well, there was an update, that's why. But I downloaded this, and if I wanted to find out where that was, and I know, hey, it's something I downloaded, so it's going to be in my downloads folder. A lot of times though, like you'll notice here, we have things like PowerPoint, right? So maybe I downloaded a tutorial from a website, and that went ahead and placed that in my downloads folder as well. So most everything is going to be by default going to a downloads folder, especially if you don't designate some place where you want that to be. So always check your downloads folder. Okay, how do you get to your downloads folder? So what we can do is, let me go ahead and close all this out. So in Windows we have remember, this is our File Explorer. So if we left click on that one time, that opens up our File Explorer. Now remember, the items down here in your taskbar, you only have to left click on them once to open them. If it's on your desktop, however, you're going to have to double click on those to launch those, okay? Just on the taskbar, those ones, you just have to left click once to open them up. So now that we've left clicked on this, the File Explorer, it brings us to this this screen, this window that we see here. You might see something similar to this, like it might say your local disk, and maybe you have another hard drive as well. But to the left, these are the most common places where Windows says you're probably going to store stuff, or other folders where you might have used stuff before, you might have accessed. So they have places like the desktop, right? You see these have all my shortcuts, and it has some other stuff. You have downloads, which is where you're most likely going to look. Documents, which might have some documents, but most likely it's going to have more stuff like folders for applications that might have it running, like AirDroid Cast, and I have some games, and I have Zoom. I don't even have those games anymore, but they still show up there because there's just remnants of those programs, right? And then we have these different documents that we've created. We have pictures. We have a pictures folder here. So most of the time you're not going to see too much stuff in your pictures folder, to be honest, unless you're really telling it to put things in your pictures folder. Screenshots, it will go in there, but other than that, you're not going to have too much stuff in pictures folder. You have a music folder, which is probably going to be empty because you're probably not going to put things. If you downloaded music, you'd create your own folder, your own personal folder where you want to put your music. And then you have a videos folder, which I'm using here. And this video folder, some programs will use this as a default to put your videos in. Some might just put it into a downloads folder or some other folder that they designate. But this is a good place to look in case you're trying to look for a video maybe that you've created or most likely created, because if you download, it's going to go to your downloads folder. So those are some common places to check. Those are all your default folders, right? Now there is one that you may not even think of. So we spoke earlier, and there's the recycle bin. Now sometimes when we're doing things, maybe we wanted to highlight these and press delete, but maybe maybe the icons are small, maybe we selected one too many and we deleted something that we don't want to lose. Always double click in your recycle bin and check it out just to make sure you didn't delete that, something that you didn't want to delete. So always check there. Now say you've done all of these things and you can't find the file that you're looking for. You're pulling your hair out, you can't find this file, and it's just driving you nuts. Well, Windows has a great tool to work with a situation like this. At the bottom of your page, this is in Windows 11. It shows up down here. This little area down here, right? So it's called the search. It's your search area, your search box, right? So this does a lot of things. This can search for applications, but it can also search for files. So if I type something like GSTG, see, when I started typing GST, it already came up with this. So this is a grant that I had for college, for teaching. And so if I want to find that, and I said, hey, you know what, I just want to review this form that I filled out one more time, but I don't know where I put it. You can just start typing down here, and it pulls it up for you. Now if I want to, similarly, what was one of the files that we had? Mileage, mileage. If I just start typing mile, it narrows it down to this. And then it has these options down here too, but it says this is the best match. So, and it is the best match because it's the one that I filled out. So, so that's a really easy way that you can find things in case you save something in some weird folder that you don't even know where it is. You just gotta know. That's why giving things meaningful names is very important, because if I was looking for one of these photos and it's something like 2018-05-23, I think that's the date, but I'm not gonna remember that date, or whatever this is, like this is just from my phone, but I'm not gonna remember what that date, what that number name is. So I probably should just rename these. That'd be the best thing to do. But giving your things meaningful names is very important. Like these videos here, I gave them meaningful names for our first week, and once I'm done with these for this week, I'm gonna give these meaningful names because I need to know what each of these are. Okay, so that's how you search for a file in Windows 10 and Windows 11. Basically the same thing. Even if you were in Windows, God forbid, Windows 7. You do the same thing, really. You just go to the, do a search, and same process, right? So you can try, say you created a Word document. What you could do is if we, let me see if I can open up a Word document here to give you an example. Oh, here it is. So if we have a Word open here, and we go to File, that takes us to the Backstage view. We click on File up here. That'll take us to a Backstage view, and this will tell us some of the most common files that I had worked on recently. See the recent section here. So if you were just working on it and you're like, I know it was in Word and I saved it, but I don't know where I put it, you can open up Word and look for the most recent documents that you're working on. Similarly, if you were working on PowerPoint, same thing, right? So, we're in this this view. Recent shows, that we're working on this teaching and learning in the age of generative AI, right? So that's something that that I can see that it was the most recent thing that I worked on in PowerPoint, and that might be the one that I'm looking for, right? And if it isn't, there's some other options right here. So that is another way that you can kind of dig through this stuff and find what you're looking for. Okay. Now, once you find that document or that file that you lost, it's a very wise choice to make sure it has a meaningful name, and to move it to a more logical place that you'll be able to find later, because you don't want to have to hope that you can remember what name you gave that file again in the future. So just move it somewhere and get it organized, so you don't have to worry about this again in the future. Okay. Well, that's it. That's the last video for this week. Hopefully these videos are helping out. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me during class, and I'd be happy to help you out. Have a great one.